Got very quiet in here. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Escondido City Council. Please rise for a moment of reflection and remain standing for the flag salute.
Yes, please join me in a moment of reflection. We come together tonight to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to serve here in the city of Escondido. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community from backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek guidance, wisdom, and discernment during deliberations that transpire this evening. And in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Fitzgerald, Councilmember Christian Garcia, Deputy Mayor Martinez, and Mayor White. May they be granted peace and wisdom as they lead our city into a bright and prosperous future. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is now called to order, and we'll do a quick roll call. Councilmember Joe Garcia is absent tonight. Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Present.
Councilman Christian Garcia?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martinez?
Present.
And I, Mayor White, am here. We will move on to our proclamations. We have 3 tonight, and we'll start with Parks and Recreation Month. So if everybody from Parks and Rec wants to join me down at the podium, it'd be great. Everybody likes parks and recreation. And in our little cups up there, we all just noticed Friday night rollerblading. And it just seems like the city always has something fun going on. And we have awesome parks and awesome staff who maintain those parks. And we appreciate everything you do. So with that being said, whereas the city of Escondido's parks, trails, and community centers, pools, and recreational programming contribute to the physical, mental, and emotional health of our residents. And whereas Escondido's Community Services Department provides countless opportunities for residents of all ages and backgrounds to connect, engage, and thrive through organized sports, fitness programs, educational classes, cultural celebrations, and outdoor activities. And whereas access to quality parks and recreational opportunities have been shown to reduce crime, improve academic achievement, support economic vitality, and enhance overall quality of life. Now, therefore, I, Dana M. White, Mayor of the City of Escondido, and on behalf of the Escondido City Council, do hereby proclaim July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month and encourage all residents to enjoy, support, and celebrate our local parks, recreational programs, and the dedicated professionals who make these essential services possible for our community. Thank you all. Anybody want to say something?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Annabelle Jameson, and I'm proud to serve as a Community Services Supervisor for the City of Escondido. I'm honored here today speaking on behalf of my incredible colleagues across the Community Services Department. For the past 40 years, July has been nationally recognized as Parks and Recreation Month, a time to celebrate how parks, recreation, and community spaces strengthen our cities, connect our neighbors, and enrich lives every day. This year's theme, Build Together, Play Together, highlights just how essential our work is in creating thriving, inclusive communities. And in Escondido, that work is truly a team effort. Let's start with our Parks Division. 33 dedicated employees who care for more than 476 acres of parkland across the city. They maintain 17 playgrounds, 2 pools, 60 athletic fields, and courts, ensuring our outdoor spaces remain safe, clean, and welcoming for all. Our Lakes and Open Spaces Division includes 50 amazing staff and rangers who manage over 30 miles of scenic trails, 46 campsites, and 2 reservoirs that are a favorite destination for world-class fishing. In fact, they've stocked over 59,000 pounds of fish this year alone. And of course, there's our beloved Recreation Division. And I say this with just a little bias. They're the heart of the fun. The powerhouse team of over 100 full and part-time employees manage 5 recreation facilities, 32 athletic fields, and oversee everything from grant funding, capital improvement projects, to sports tournaments, and more than 40 permitted special events every year. Through these programs and spaces, we serve over 100,000 participants annually. But we don't do this work alone. We're incredibly proud to partner with local youth leagues, schools, churches, clubs, and instructors, community members who bring energy, creativity, and connection to every corner of Escondido. To celebrate Parks and Recreation Month, we've launched a citywide scavenger hunt led by our favorite four-legged ambassador, Elvis the Tortoise. Now through July 31st, we invite you to pick up a booklet at our participating locations or download it online and discover all the fun Escondido has to offer as you collect stamps exploring our lakes, parks, pools, and community centers. You'll not only earn a prize, you'll also get the chance to enter a raffle full of goodies from some of Escondido's favorite local businesses. So come out and join the adventure, because when we build and play together, we build a stronger Escondido for everyone. Thank you.
I'm tall, just stick me on the end.
It's becoming a habit.
Of course.
All right, our next proclamation this evening is for MAAC's 60th anniversary, and I'd like to invite anybody here with the organization down to join me at the front. Hi. Dane, nice to meet you. Hi. Dane, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hey, thank you. All right. For July 8th, 2025, whereas the Metropolitan Area Advisory Committee on Anti-Poverty of San Diego County was founded in 1965 by community leaders to address systemic poverty in the region, and whereas for 6 decades, MAAC has steadfastly championed its mission, maximizing self-sufficiency with families and individuals through high-quality programs and advocacy in our communities, now serving over 100,000 individuals annually in 5 key areas: economic development, education, health and well-being, housing, and advocacy and leadership development. And whereas MAAC's commitment has yielded monumental outcomes, over $200 million in economic impact per year, 1,142 affordable homes in its portfolio, weatherization of hundreds of homes, and thousands served in education, workforce, recovery, and wellness programs. Now, therefore, I, Dane M. White, Mayor of the City of Escondido, do hereby proclaim July 8th, 2025 to be MAAC Day in the City of Escondido and invite you all to join in the celebration with me. Thank you. And you guys are free to speak if you'd like.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the partnership with the City of Escondido. We do have 3 child development centers here serving children 0 to 5 with affordable early childhood education, and we are in the process of developing 306 affordable homes here in the city as well. So we appreciate the recognition for the work that we're doing in the community. Thank you.
Thank you all. All right, and if I could invite any family and friends of Mr. Phil Henry up to join me. Dane, nice to meet you. Dane, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you all for being here and allowing us at the City of Escondido to recognize Mr. Phil Henry. And I just want to say before I read this, one of the things I love about Escondido and its uniqueness is that names mean something here. Names are a legacy here in Escondido. And the Henry name, has been around for over a century here in Escondido, pretty much since the founding. And we appreciate all this family has done for our community. And it's my honor to present this proclamation to honor Mr. Phil Henry. And it says, whereas Phil Henry, beloved pillar of our community and longtime leader at Henry Avocado Corporation, passed away at age 80. And whereas a third-generation steward of California avocado farming, Mr. Henry continued a family legacy that began in 1925, sowing roots deep in Escondido's agricultural heritage. And whereas Mr. Henry's generosity extended far beyond his groves, he and his wife, Kathy, were unwavering supporters of local causes, including the Escondido Foundation, the YMCA, Escondido Boys and Girls Club, and numerous civic initiatives. And whereas his leadership exemplified the spirit of civic responsibility and rooted pride, strengthening Escondido's sense of place and purpose. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Dane M. White, Mayor of the City of Escondido, do hereby proclaim July 16th, 2025 as Phil Henry Day in the City of Escondido, honoring his memory, his legacy of agricultural innovation, and his deep generosity of spirit. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, if you'd like to. You don't have to.
Thank you. Phil would be very moved by this and very touched, and it's very, very kind that you did this. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you mind if we snuck a picture with you all before
Okay.
you go?
Okay.
And this is for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, no, short. Scoot on down. I'll scoot on down. Like we were kids, get close.
Absolutely. All right, do we have a report out of closed session this evening?
No public report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, then non-agenda public comments.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, we do have a number of items on non-agenda public comments. Our first speaker is Adrian Vore. And as Mr. Vore goes up, just want to let you know, he had a picture of a fitness court that I sent to you guys just before this council meeting, so you have it for record.
Mayor White, Council, thank you very much for the time. My name is Adrian Vore, and
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Would you mind just pulling that towards you? Yeah, there we go.
Okay, better?
Yes.
All right. My name is Adrian Vore. I'm a longtime resident of Escondido. And actually what I'm going to talk to you tonight is perfect because we were just talking about the Parks and Rec Department. I've lived here for many years. I'm also a fitness court ambassador Some of you may know that Escondido has 4 fitness courts. These came in about 5 years ago. They're at Washington Park, Kit Carson, the library, and Mountain View Park. And the intent when the city put these in was for public exercise to improve residents' health. The city acquired grants for these as well as using city money to put these in. Joanna Axelrod at that time was the Director of Community Services, and she led the effort to get those in. They're great courts. They're very well designed by the National Fitness Campaign. And again, they're for everybody, and the intent was for residents to use them for health. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about the library fitness court specifically, but also what I'm hearing about is that Washington Park is experiencing the same problem. The fitness court at the library has been taken over by the homeless. They have declared that this is their space. And they sleep there, eat there, drink there, hang out there, urinate there, do drugs there. They have made the court uncomfortable, at the very least. They've made it unsafe and unusable. My experience there is that when I go there, they could be sleeping there, they could be sleeping on the court itself, they have stayed in the court. So something must be done because this was not the intent, right? Now, I will say this, that about 2 days ago, I emailed Joanna Axelrod, and she then forwarded her email to other city officials, including the police chief. And I got an email back from Joanna as well as the police chief saying something would be done. And by gosh, something has been done. In the last 2 days, it has cleaned up. However, we've got to stay on this because it again, was just not the intent. And we can't have people taking over a city space like this, a public space. The city has an ordinance, has a no loitering ordinance on the books. I've seen the signs out by the library. But those signs also need to go over to the fitness court. And then that ordinance needs to be enforced and aggressively enforced because it's okay at the moment, but we have to make sure this doesn't happen again. So even if someone's not even using the court, it still needs to be off limits to sleeping and hanging out and just doing nothing. Because what will happen is people will just say, I don't want to go.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Your
That's
time
it.
has
That's
expired,
it?
but
Okay.
will you make sure you leave your contact information with the clerk?
Yeah, all right.
Perfect.
City Council, Mayor, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Stephen Wheeler.
Test 1, 2, am I on? This is good?
Yes, sir.
I am Stephen Wheeler, a District 3 city resident. Honorable civil servants, I understand earlier this week you received the text of my oral communications originally intended for presentation last week, having missed the fact that the meeting was canceled. My bad. For those who made the time to digest it, I extend my thanks and respect. In it, I opined 2 things. One, that my city government continues to actively circumvent any transparency regarding the issue I represent, city budget deficit reduction. I also opined at the highest level of our city government, I was knowingly offered false information regarding my government's plan to issue advancements. As the author of that text, I can only hope it was read as intended. It was my personal plea to you for your help. I have found cause to lose faith in my local government. I need your help returning me to the fold. Please reach out. The city has my contact information. With respect, thank you.
Our next speaker is Tracy. And Tracy, I'll be right down to bring you the microphone. One moment.
Good evening, everybody. I am a resident of Escondido, and just recently I have been going to what used to be North County Fair, which is now Mershop's Mall. fighting with the manager for 6 months to get the main elevator fixed in the mall has been impossible. No city council people, nobody, code enforcement, nobody, no help. I am having to fight this battle on my own. As you can see, I cannot go up an escalator or up an escalator with my walker. The only option they have given me is to go to Macy's, which does not even have a third floor entrance into the mall. Your code enforcement man, in one ear, out the other. I am also tired of the homeless taking over the streets. I cannot get down the sidewalks. They're constantly sleeping, and I'm tired of being asked for drugs. Thank you. And one last thing, ADA is giving you 10 days to get the elevator fixed to the mall, or they're shutting it down. It is illegal to run a mall without an elevator.
Our next speaker is Luis. Luis, are you here? All right. Moving on, Rick Paul.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. I come here tonight as your representative for the San Diego County Water Authority. This was the first opportunity I could come since the rate hikes were announced, and I just wanted to talk about them for a minute in case you had any questions. So it made the news that the rate hikes were 8.3%. What that means is an average of 8.3% across the whole county of fixed charges and variable charges. So for Escondido, that's about a 5% increase. Some communities were 10%, 11%, and the average was 8.3. So for Escondido, about 5%. Escondido gets, on a given year, between 50% and 75% of our water from the County Water Authority. So then we have 50 to 75% of that 5%. So the average ratepayer will see about 3% increase. The ag rate didn't fare quite as well. There was a lot of controversy. Staff wanted to pull the plug completely on the ag rate. What's happened is that rate, the agricultural rate is lower because they don't have as good a guarantee of water supply, okay? So the water we buy from Metropolitan, that was earmarked for agriculture, and that water's not as reliable. Well, the County Water Authority doesn't purchase much, almost zero water from Metropolitan anymore. So the water we're getting from the Colorado River has a lot more reliable, okay? So they wanted the farmers to pay for this increased reliability. We found some ways that we can subsidize the farmers using other funds, but we weren't able to get that into this next year. There's an agreement that we'll have a working group made up of the utility managers and all the local water companies to work together to work on that plan for this year so that the ag rate doesn't go away, so that we can find better subsidies. But for this 1 year, that rate's going to go up about 16%. So, okay. So anyway, if you had any questions, otherwise, I'll talk to you later.
I don't think we can ask questions since this isn't on the agenda, but would you mind if next time I just add this to the agenda? That way we can have some dialogue.
Sure. You know, Zach said that if I wanted 10 minutes on the agenda, I didn't even think of that before. So let me know if you want me to come talk. And
We'll get that scheduled soon. That way we can get a thorough report and ask any questions.
Okie doke.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Anna Marie Velasco.
Good evening, Mayor White and council members. My name is Ana Maria Velasco, and I've been a resident of Escondido since 2000, retired teacher, ex-chair of the Escondido Public Art Commission. What brings me down here today is something really dear to my heart, and that is the unacceptable and appalling situation our undocumented residents and neighbors are going through. I would like to share with you a few segments from the letter that was given to President Trump from California Republican senators to that. I sent it to you this morning. It should be in your packet. I believe so. I send you the link. Paragraph 3, I quote, the recent ICE workplace raids on farms, at construction sites, in restaurants, hotels, have led to unintended consequences that are harming the communities we represent and the businesses that employ our constituents. The recent ICE raids are creating widespread fear among other employees, including those with legal immigration status. That fear is driving vital workers out of critical industry, taking California's affordability crisis and making it even worse for our constituents. Following a couple of paragraphs later, they call on President Trump to modernize our immigration process to allow non-criminal, undocumented immigrants with long-standing ties to our communities a path forward legal status. America needs a system that reflects both compassion and lawfulness. California is hurting. And I believe those words cannot tie with your words, Mr. Garcia and Dane White, a few weeks ago when you manifested concern about legal policies going on right now. You also have with you a letter from Escondido Neighbors for Solution. And they're asking you for a resolution that calls for 3 very important things, kind of repeat what the senator said. 1, transparency and accountability in federal enforcement. Who is conducting the raids? Who is behind those masks? Who's being detained? Where are they being taken to? They disappear. They disappear. 2, due process is in our Constitution. It is the right to all people in this country to have the due process. And finally, request Congress to develop a clear path for legal status. I hope your words of concern will translate into action and pass a resolution that will correct the wrongs in our actual policy. Thank you for listening.
Our next speaker is Maria Wallace.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I immigrated to this country for a better life, and I'm proud to call myself Mexican American. I love this country, and I believe that this country has the potential to live up to its Constitution. I am not surprised by the racist rhetoric coming out of the Republican Party, which 4 of you also represent. But I'm very upset that none of you have stepped up to condemn any of the Trump administration policies, like mask supposed federal immigration agents, racially profiling anyone who looks like me, speaks like me, and the separation of families. Also, ICE is detaining US citizens, and even when people say that they have papers, ICE says that they don't believe them. Last week, a man was detained on the way to work here in Escondido, and I believe he was a resident of this District 3, your district, Senor Christian Garcia. So I would like to know, what have all of you been doing to prepare your Latino residents who are being targeted as we speak? Besides sending this performative letter to Daryl Issa, who is your friend and fellow Republican and who has always criminalized our Latino communities, are you doing any Know Your Rights training? Do you have Know Your Rights material at the very least? You know, I have seen disabled people taken by ICE, people and their walkers, and children. I have not seen this in my community yet, but I know it's coming here next. Please, council member, mayor, look at the mayors of Pasadena, Huntington Park, Paris, Bell Gardens. Look at what they are doing. It is a shame that you're not doing a little bit more. Be proactive. Please, prepare and protect our majority community, Latino community, please. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Courtney Cabral.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Courtney Cabral. I'm the president of the board of the Escondido History Center. Next to me is Bill McNaughton, former president of the Brothers of Six. We are here tonight to express our concern regarding the upcoming renovation of Grape Day Park. As you know, Grape Day Park is not only the oldest park in Escondido, it is a cornerstone of our city's heritage. It is home to the Escondido History Center, the iconic train depot, and the legacy of Grape Day Festival, which has brought our community together for generations. Beyond its historical value, the park is also an economic driver, driving thousands of visitors each year to downtown Escondido. We understand that a major overhaul of the park is planned, and while we support improvements that enhance the safety and accessibility, we are concerned about the lack of clear construction schedule. With Grape Day Festival scheduled to take place on September 13th, we urgently need to know how far into the construction the city will be by then. This information is critical for our planning, our vendors, and many community members who look forward to this event. We respectfully ask the council and city staff to provide a timeline or update the construction schedule as soon as possible. Transparency and coordination will help ensure that this beloved tradition can continue without disruption. Thank you for your time and continued support of Escondido's history in the community.
Our next speaker is Elias Vasquez.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm not saying that certain members of the current council are prevaricators, but I do think it's fair to say that some of our current city leaders are negligent or at least irresponsible for what they call the truth. Harsh, but let me give you an example. August 9th, 2023, 3 city council members, Mayor Dane White, Councilmember Christian Garcia, and Councilmember Joe Garcia, along with public comment support from then future Councilmember Fitzgerald, voted to remove funding from Interfaith's Haven House that it had consistently been receiving for over a decade. This vote resulted in the closing of 38 shelter beds in Escondido. In the direct words of Interfaith's CEO following the vote, we used to have 49 beds, but because the city cut our funding for Haven House, we had to go to 11 beds. So imagine my surprise when after that recent cut in funding, last week I'm reading the newspaper, and Mayor Dane White wrote a column congratulating himself and his record for proposing giving money to Interfaith for 18 new beds. Now, I'm not opposed to new shelter beds in the city, but are we not going to acknowledge that we're still at a net loss of 20 beds in the city from those votes? This in your first term and directly due to your votes on the council. You create a bed shortage here, then expect the community to celebrate you for bringing a portion of those beds back. A shady way of presenting the situation, and this isn't an isolated incident. A few weeks ago, Councilmember Christian Garcia, alongside with the mayor, were loud and proud all over traditional and social media about how Escondido's drop in homelessness this year was a testament to their hard work on the issue, ignoring the fact that since those two have taken office, homelessness is still 10% higher than when they came in. And what policies and hard work has the council done to improve this situation at all? They've closed shelter beds, adopted policy language that makes the city ineligible for government funding, and given themselves the ability to pause homeless services in areas of the city that include our biggest nonprofit partners. This convenient messaging and phrasing isn't on accident. In fact, it's coming from the same people who ran using homelessness as their #1 issue and promising change. Yet their legacy and actions on the council go directly against the platform they ran on. Again, I'm not challenging the council's integrity, but this distortion in presenting the truth to residents seems very intentional. And in my opinion, it looks like elected officials betting that their voters are too busy, disengaged, uninformed, or misinformed to catch or remember these details. My recommendation, be honest, because believe it or not, we are listening. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Everardo Flores.
Good evening, City Council members and Mayor White. I came today to say that brown is made up of so many colors, and it becomes the glue that holds the painting together. It flows seamlessly throughout every other color without the eye noticing it. That is how I see my fellow Mexican Americans and Latinos. That is what I think when I see a Mexican American or Latino. It's difficult to focus on past and even current oppressions when you have mouths to feed tonight and rent due Friday. So how and why would you expect us to wrap ourselves around with American flags while we eat hot dogs and celebrate this new American dream? I understand some of us would like to believe that as a country we have achieved enough progress and that everything will automatically be all right, but that is not the truth. Our way of life will always be threatened. The same way an individual character is defined by the adversity through which they have to struggle, and how that individual fights and how he comes out in that cauldron of conflict. You can tell me and everyone else that this letter is a way to fight or advocate, but the fact that you are Republican council members that have supported candidates who were enamored with him, who took money from a party who empowered him and still continuously do nothing more than ask for prayers while being in seat of power. If you truly care about immigration reform, then speak out against ICE raids and speak against proposals to end birthright citizenships. Speak out for families who have lived and worked here for decades. Don't hide behind letters. Take a fucking stand. Comprehensive immigration reform isn't blocked by immigrants. It is blocked by Republicans year after year. So if you're serious, prove it to your community and tell Congressman Issa to stop doing these fancy photo shoots or whatever the fuck it is that you guys are all enveloped with. Just take a stance.
Thank you. And I did misspeak. We have one more speaker, Mr. Greg Oliver. Prior to that, and I appreciate the sensitivity and passion concerning subject matters at hand, we do have a decorum policy. So, if we, it's not an infringement upon the First Amendment, but we do want to maintain decorum. So language is important that we use in the context of council. Mr. Oliver.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight to follow up on a point that I raised previously regarding Measure I and the significant investment Escondido residents have made in our community. As you know, the ballot question for Measure I highlighted several critical areas for funding: public safety, addressing homelessness, improving streets, sidewalks, and infrastructure, increasing police, fire, and paramedic services, reducing traffic congestion, and maintaining parks, trails, and open space. When I last addressed the council, I suggested that a clear, specific vision from the City Council would be invaluable for each of these vital areas. For example, what does addressing homelessness look like as an achieved in-state in Escondido with tangible benchmarks? This exercise would articulate a shared vision for these important goals. My concern, and that of many other residents, is that no in-state vision for any of these critical areas has been articulated to the public. And now the first Citizens Oversight Committee meeting is scheduled for August 6th, and we plan to attend. Without a clear articulated vision for each of the 6 elements presented to the voters, it becomes challenging for the Oversight Committee to effectively assess whether proposed expenditures truly align with the public's expectations and the spirit of the measure. If there isn't a defined desired state for each of these areas, it'll be difficult for the Oversight Committee and the public to determine if we are indeed moving towards outcomes that resonated with the voters. We understand that Measure I was passed as general government use. However, the inclusion of these specific essential services on the ballot were clearly intended to convey to voters how these funds would address pressing community needs. To the public, these 6 elements represented the core reasons to support this significant investment. As I mentioned before, there are 3 primary guardrails to ensure that the expenditures meet the conveyed intent of Measure I. 1, the integrity and depth of concern for honoring public trust demonstrated by this City Council. 2, the alignment of the City Council's expenditure requests and the public's vision for each of these measures elements, as understood and upheld by the Citizens Oversight Committee. And 3, the vigilance of the public and their commitment to ensuring the funds are expended in accordance with Measure I elements. The community will be closely observing the actions taken by both the City Council and Citizens Oversight Committee regarding the allocation of these funds. We intend to report the outcomes and progress or lack thereof to a broader audience and to help the city in providing continued transparency and supporting the public trust in this matter. We look forward to seeing how the council, in collaboration with the Oversight Committee, ensures that the public investment truly delivers on the promises made for a better Escondido. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. No further public comments on non-agenda items.
All right, well, that brings us to our consent calendar. Item 12, by the way, has been continued to July 23rd, so on consent tonight is items 1 through 11, and I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve items 1 through 11 and ask for a second.
I'll second.
Perfect. Let's
Voting
vote.
is open. Motion approved, 4-0.
All right. Item 13 is a public hearing. This is the 2024 report on drinking water public health goals. I'll open the public hearing and turn it over to city staff.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. My name is Reed Harlan, and I'm the Assistant Director of Utilities and Water Operations. Tonight, I'm here to present the drinking water standards and public health goals, and I'm requesting that you receive and file this following report. The City of Escondido's Utilities Department, City of Escondido's Utilities Department has met and continues to meet all state and federal regulations for drinking water quality. As a result, Escondido drinking water is safe for public consumption. California Health and Safety Code specifies that larger utilities prepare this report if any of their water quality measurements have exceeded a public health goal, or public health goals are set by the state of California. The public health goals are not enforceable, and they are not required to be met by any public water system. They are set as goals based solely on the public health risk considerations and include a margin of safety. The law also requires that where a public health goal for a contaminant has not been established, the water suppliers are to use the maximum contaminant level goals adopted by the federal government. Water quality data collected from the City of Escondido water system during years 2022 through 2024 were analyzed for the purposes of determining compliance with the drinking water standards. The 5 substances listed in this report were detected in the City of Escondido's drinking water at levels above the public health goal or above the maximum contaminant level goal. Over this 3-year period of time, our water quality labs monitor 180 different substances and analyzes around 28,000 samples annually. The frequency of sampling is determined by the substance being monitored. Goals and standards are not the same thing. Standards are called maximum, or referred to as maximum contaminant levels, and they are enforced by the California Department of Public Health. Public drinking water systems must ensure compliance with these standards at all times. While public health goals and maximum contaminant level goals are not enforceable, regulatory standards are. The City of Escondido Utilities Department is fully committed to maintaining water quality and meets or exceeds the standards. However, there are times when maximum contaminant level goals or public health goals for drinking water are not achieved. These can be attributed to a combination of environmental conditions, source water quality, and operational challenges. As long as the maximum contaminant level wasn't exceeded, the water is safe to drink. This illustration shows how public health goals and maximum contaminant level goals, which we strive to meet, relate to maximum contaminant levels or standards. The area highlighted in green represents substance levels that are considered safe to drink. The area highlighted in red represents substance levels that exceed the MCLs or maximum contaminant levels and therefore are in violation of drinking water standards. Total coliform bacteria are used as an indicator organism. The presence of this bacteria can indicate the potential presence of pathogenic organisms. Pathogens are organisms that may cause waterborne diseases. Because coliforms only indicate the possible presence of pathogens, it is not possible to state a specific numerical health risk related to them alone. During this monitoring period, a maximum of 1.8% of these samples were positive. I'm sorry.
So I'm going to intercept just for a second. So chloroform bacteria is the first of the 5. We're going through the first of the 5 substances that were we did not meet the goal. And so just for the transition space, that's where we're at. So this is the first of the 5. We won't be reviewing the 175 where we actually met the goal or exceeded the goal, all right? So
Yes.
I will turn it back over to Mr. Harlan to continue, but this is the first of the 5, and we want to illustrate how and where we are versus the goal. Back to you, Mr. Harlan.
Thank you. So the 1.8% occurred in the month of September 2023. That was the maximum exceedance. On average, we exceeded by 0.2%. Or positive, well below the standard. Copper can occur naturally in the environment as well as leach from household plumbing fixtures. The category of risk for increased concentrations is the category of health risk for increased concentrations is gastrointestinal irritation and potential for kidney and liver damage. There is no MCL for copper. Instead, 90% of the samples taken from household taps that are tested for copper cannot exceed an action level of 1.3 milligrams per liter. The public health goal for copper is 0.3 milligrams per liter. During the sampling period, 90% of the samples taken from Escondido household taps were under 0.55 milligrams per liter, which is less than the action level of 1.3 milligrams per liter, but exceeds the 0.3 milligram per liter public health goal. None of the samples were over the 1.3 milligram per liter standard. Chlorite is a disinfection byproduct in the treatment of drinking water. Health effects at high concentrations can cause blood, gastrointestinal, and endocrine effects. Treatment plant staff monitor for chlorite. I said chlorine dioxide. I meant to say chlorite. I apologize. Treatment plant staff monitor for chlorides entering the distribution system on a daily basis, while lab staff monitor these levels in the distribution system every month. The current chlorite MCL is 1.0 milligrams per liter. The public health goal is 0.05 milligrams per liter. The range of chlorite during the sampling period was 0.08 milligrams per liter to 0.59 milligrams per liter. Again, well below the standard. Perchlorate is an oxidizing chemical used in a variety of industrial processes. Perchlorate can occur in the environment either through industrial contamination or from natural sources. People are primarily exposed to perchlorate through consumption of food and water. High levels of exposure can affect the uptake of iodine to the thyroid gland. The public health goal and the detection limit for perchlorate is 1 microgram per liter. The maximum contaminant level is 6 micrograms per liter. The perchlorate levels measured during the sampling period range from non-detectable to 1.1 micrograms per liter. Gross alpha particle activity is a measure of total amount of radioactivity in the water sample attributed to the decay of alpha-emitting elements. Alpha particles are highly ionizing, but the particles can only travel short distances in air before being absorbed. Alpha particles have little ability to penetrate objects, thus they can be stopped by a sheet of paper or an outer layer of skin. However, the internal hazards when they are inhaled or ingested may be significant. Although other impacts are possible, cancer has been recognized as a potential health risk of high levels of exposure. The standard is 15 picocuries per liter. The goal is 0 picocuries per liter. Escondido ranged from non-detectable to 4.8 picocuries per liter. Gross beta particle activity is a measure of total amount of radioactivity in water sample attributed to the radioactive decay of beta-emitting particles. Beta-emitting particles usually travel greater distances in the air than alpha particles before being absorbed. Just like alpha particles, cancer has been recognized as a possible health effect of high levels of exposure. The standard is 50 picocuries per liter, and the goal is 0. Escondido's drinking water range from 7.1 to 22.1 picocuries per liter. The City of Escondido drinking water system meets all state and federal drinking water standards set to protect public health, but does not exceed some of the public health goals. Through our ongoing efforts and recent improvements, we successfully reduced the levels of 7 overall substances to meet public health goals since the last issuance of this report. Unfortunately, costly treatment processes would be required to further reduce levels of the substances identified in this report. Public health goals or maximum contaminant level goals are significantly below the public-based maximum contaminant levels that has been established to prove a standard for safe drinking water. The effectiveness of additional treatment processes to provide significant reductions in substances and substance levels at these already low values is uncertain. In addition, the health protection benefits of further reductions are not clear and may not be quantifiable. Therefore, no action is proposed, and we are asking for you to receive and file this report. And for more information on regarding water quality, see the water quality report that is published every year and is available using the link. And reports are available both English and Spanish.
All right, thank you for the presentation. There's no public comments, correct? So we'll
None.
go ahead and close the public hearing. I just have a couple of questions. So we analyzed 180 substances. How many of those are actually required by law? Is it all 180?
That's correct.
Okay. Who sets the public health goal and the public health standard?
So the federal government will set the minimum standards for both, and the state can meet or exceed those goals or standards.
Okay, so
Yes.
we're working based off of federal and state regulations, essentially. And I saw in there that compared to 2022, we have 7, I forget how it was worded, that last slide. There's 7 fewer exceedants than in 2022. So in 2022, there were 12 areas in which we exceeded the public health goal. Is that correct?
There was 11. We picked up one this year per chlorate, I think. That
Okay.
wasn't on the last time this report.
But overall, this looks like a tremendous amount of progress, even from the high standard we already had back in 2022. So thank you all for the work that you do. Thank you for keeping our water clean and safe and readily available. It's much appreciated by all 150 some odd thousand people who live here. So thank you.
Thanks.
I would like to comment if I could. Well, I do have a question. So on the 2 water sources, can you remind us again what the 2 main water sources are that we use?
So we have a local water source which originates in Lake Henshaw. We have a water system that is able to transfer water from the Lake Henshaw down into Lake Wolford, and then we can treat that at the treatment plant. We also have water that we draft off the aqueduct, County Water Authority aqueduct. And in that source, there are also 2 sources. They can use state project water, which is water that comes from the Delta, or they can use Colorado River water. We can get a blend of varying amounts of both of those as well in that one source. And Lake Dixon has similar water qualities to San Diego County Water Authority since it's filled off the aqueduct.
Well, I'd just like to comment that I think you guys are doing a tremendous job. I was able to take a tour of the HARF and saw all the testing going on, and to say that we're doing 28,000 annually. And even though we're looking at, I don't want to say just the 5, but out of 180, it's 5. And hearing that does not pose a public health risk because you are on top of it, I think that's really important for the public to know that, we want to be at 100%, and you guys are just doing an extremely well job that, again, even though this may not be where we want it to be yet, it's still not posing a public health risk. So thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the presentation and the beautiful report that I know went to all the mailboxes. And just, it's never just turning on the water and magically it appears. I know there's just so many people who work to provide us clean, safe, drinkable water, and to treat our wastewater. So I just want to thank you for the work that you do. And I know that we have a utilities subcommittee, and I would just love opportunities in the future to share more about how our water system works, since we are a full-service city. So I welcome opportunities in the future to continue to engage our community and inform them of all that we provide for them to provide safe drinking water. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your time and for the presentation.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 14, our second public hearing, which is the consideration of mobile home park administrative fee waiver. Public hearing is open. Turn it over to city staff.
Good evening, members of the Rent Review Board. My name's Danielle Lopez. I'm the Housing and Neighborhood Services Manager, and with me is Carlos Cervantes, Management Analyst over Mobile Home Park Administration. Back on February 19th, we provided the Council with a detailed update of the Mobile Home Park survey process, including identifying parks that did not turn in surveys or turned in surveys late, and the fees associated with that, as well as the changes made to the process in order to improve communication and compliance within the parks. Because staff do not have the authority to waive fees, we are back tonight to recommend the council waive the administrative fees associated with these missing or late surveys. Specifically, we'll be recommending that council approve Rent Review Board Resolution 2025-83, waiving authorizing a one-time waiver of the mobile home administrative fee for reporting periods of 2020-21 and through 2023-24. So today we'll provide a brief overview of the mobile home rent control history. We'll review what the survey is and what it is used for. We'll talk about the potential financial impacts associated with the survey and staff's recommendation, and then we'll talk about how the process will be communicated and enforced moving forward. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Carlos to provide the presentation.
Thank you, Danielle. So to start us off, here's a map of all the mobile home parks in the city of Escondido. In total, there are 21 parks, with 8 of them being senior parks and 13 of them being family parks. All the parks identified in red are owned by a management company, and in these parks, residents either own the home and rent the land, or they rent both. There are 2 parks in green, the Views on Valley Parkway and Mountain Shadows in Citricado, which are resident-owned, which means the residents own both the land and the home. On June 8, 1988, the Escondido residents voted to approve Proposition K to enact mobile home rent control in the city of Escondido. Under Prop K, if an owner wants to increase the rent of a mobile home rent control space, they must file an application with the city to obtain approval from the Mobile Home Rent Review Board. In the city of Escondido, the board is an independent body comprised of the city of Escondido council members. In addition to the Rent Review Board jurisdiction over the rent control process, the board also has the responsibility of hearing and approving or disapproving all mobile home park matters like the one we bring before you tonight. Now we'll take a quick look at the annual survey itself. So the surveys are yearly reports submitted by park management from each mobile home park detailing any changes or updates since the previous year. The reports are utilized to verify and confirm that no unauthorized increase has occurred and to assist with confirming the accuracy of data submitted with rent increase applications. On February 19th, staff presented to the Rent Review Board details of the annual survey and how we utilize them along with fees related to these reports. As a reminder, included in the city's fee schedule is a mobile home park administration fee. This fee is imposed on parks that either fail to submit a survey or submit an incomplete survey, charging $40 per space for missing surveys or omitted information. Additionally, mentioned at the meeting, staff audited surveys received from 2020 through 2024 and found that for certain years, some parks had failed to submit their surveys. Here are the parks that have failed to submit their annual surveys since 2020 and the years in which they failed to submit those surveys. For the fiscal year 2020 through 2021, Imperial Mobile Estates failed to submit their survey. For the fiscal year 2021 through 2022, all parks turned in their survey reports. For the fiscal year 2023 through 2022 through 2023, Lake Bernardo Mobile Home Park and Ponderosa Mobile Home Park failed to submit their surveys. And for the year 23 through 24, Imperial Mobile Home Park, Lake Bernardo Mobile Home Park, Casa Amigos Mobile Home Park, and Mobile Park West submitted late but have now all been received. And here we can see a breakdown of the parks failing to submit their surveys or parks that turn in their surveys late and the potential financial implications. As mentioned previously, each park is charged $40 per space for missing reports for a total of $55,440. Historically, compliance with the annual survey requirements has been inconsistent. The city's administration fee of $40 per space for non-compliance has not been consistently communicated or enforced. As a result, parks have accrued significant potential penalties for missing surveys from 2020 through 2024. Due to these reasons, staff is recommending a one-time waiver for missing surveys from the years 2020 through 2024, totaling in a little over $55,000. This action will provide a clear reset policy, allowing all involved to move forward with a shared understanding of compliance and expectations and consequences. Moving forward, staff will enforce the existing fee schedule of $40 per space for late or missing surveys, as outlined in the city's rent control guidelines. Staff will also clearly communicate this to parks, and each park's management staff will be notified via email of the survey's October 15th due date, and they will be provided copies of all requested documents as well. These documents can also be found on the city's Housing and Neighborhood Services website. 3 notices will be sent out to parks, with the initial notice being August 29th, and the following being on September 24th, and the last one being on October 8th. Extensions will be provided to parks so long as they are requested prior to the deadline. By enforcing these measures, the city promotes adherence to regulations, reinforces accountability, and ensures fairness in mobile home park operations. Again, staff is recommending a one-time waiver of all outstanding past annual survey fees for the years 2020 through 2024 reporting periods, totaling $55,440. And that concludes our presentation. We're open to answering any questions. Thank you.
No public comments on this item, then we'll close the public hearing. I just have a couple of quick questions. So if my memory serves me correct, this came up initially during a mobile home increase consideration, didn't it?
I believe it actually came up through the meeting on the review of the guidelines.
Yeah, okay, perfect. What, if we were to collect those fees, where do they go?
They go into the general fund.
Interesting, okay. And my only other question was, do we send a notice? And you gave us the 3 dates of which notices will be sent out, so thank you. I'll go ahead and move to approve Resolution 2025-83. I'll ask for a second, open it up for discussion. Perfect, thank you. Any questions and comments from the rest of the council?
I do have a question. So I did hear you say that you'll be emailing the notices. Will there be any other type of communications with them, or?
Yeah, so typically it's just through email, but because we're doing like the reset policy, we do plan on perhaps sending them letters through the mail. I do have one already drafted and prepped. It's just a matter of basically sending it out once we are sending out the information for the surveys as well.
I'm wondering too if it would be helpful, just because we're getting it started, to also try to either in person or via telephone to make sure that they're receiving it. I think face-to-face is always really good. And it's $55,000 over all those years, but it's still $55,000. So I want to make sure that they're receiving it so they don't come and claim that they were never notified. So I think at least those 3 ways. But thank you.
Yeah, I recall this. I think in the fall we had this discussion, and I thought we waived the fees then, or for the year, for that calendar year.
We had to bring that back because we as staff don't have that authority to waive that fee. So we brought this back just to take care of that one item.
But we did have the discussion in the fall, but it's now coming back, about 6 months later. And is that because this is usually the time when those kind of requests happen? Is that why it's been like 6 months?
We have been working on the process and how we're going to improve that process. And we had everything ready for, it took us some time to have everything ready for this meeting and get everything in line.
Okay, and then just if you could just refresh my memory, because this was a while ago. I know that there's been inconsistencies and we've had turnover in that department, which I totally understand. Do we have email addresses for every single mobile home park and contact information?
We do. That's what I want to include in that letter that I mentioned, though, when I want to drop them off, just to confirm that the information that we have is up to date and accurate. Just in case there's any changes, they can let us know as soon as possible before we send out any information or requested documents to the parks.
Okay, yeah, I would say like even in having, and then putting the onus on them that if there's a change of ownership, contact information, because sometimes these properties change hands, right? That they know that they have to notify the city, because I'm not going to use that as an excuse later to say, oh, well, we're not going to give you fees because you change hands. We got to put the responsibility on them to communicate with us, because we can't go around chasing them, right? They have to communicate. So if there's a way to include that if for some reason the management contact changes, the property owner changes, that they have to notify us. I don't know if that's legally required in any policy or if there's like a minimum amount of days that they should already do that, but I believe that that's important, because I do hear frustration from the mobile park residents, especially when they didn't receive those remember we didn't post those publicly, so there was frustration on that, and I'm sure there'll be some frustration on not collecting the dues, or the fees, but I understand, circumstances and trying to be fair and just starting over on a better, more positive foot. So yes, I would say that I will support it, but I definitely think we should make it required that they communicate if there's ever been a change of email, contact, or ownership of the property. And then this will catch us up, right? So there's not going to be any, okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, we'll go ahead and vote.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 4-0.
All right, thank you both for that. Is there anything anybody wants to add to a future agenda? Go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple things that have come up. One is I do get a lot of questions about the Citizens Board, and I know they're having their meeting in August, so I don't know. I know we're still kind of navigating this new space, but if that's going to be a conversation that we have as a council at our visioning retreat around goals related to the ballot measure. If not, then I would like to at least have a conversation to entertain that.
There is going to be a conversation about how to approach the question of the guidance of the priorities.
Okay, but would that include benchmarks?
We can get into that conversation at that time.
Okay, good. So there will be space for that.
Well, it may not be the only thing on the agenda.
Yeah.
It may need to be how we're going to handle that moving forward.
Okay, so yeah, because I would like to have that conversation with my colleagues, because I do get a lot of questions from the community, and it's difficult for me to answer those questions when we haven't had that conversation here with my colleagues. And again, I think it's just a good faith effort for us to share with our community, the process, how it's going, how the Citizens Committee is working, just to communicate and show that we're hearing them and that we want to answer questions. It's the least that we can do. So I would like to have that conversation, whether it's at the retreat or before that. And then another thing that comes up, and I don't know if this is going to be at our vision retreat, which I saw that today we just got a calendar hold for mid to late September for our council visioning retreat, which we normally have once a year, is an intentional conversation with my colleagues around the fireworks issue. So again, if it's not going to be on the agenda for council, then I would like to add it to the agenda for a city council meeting. Thank you.
Sorry, I'll second that. There we go.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
So there is this item that is scheduled to get into this intentional conversation. So I'm trying to understand what was just.
I seconded the conversation around fireworks.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
I think the other one doesn't need a second. I think it's already been planned, and we'll have
Yeah.
an opportunity to do that.
And I'm not giving a specific timeline because I'm mindful that there was data
So-
being collected. So I'm
so-
leaving the timeline to you, but I'm voicing it that publicly I
and-
want this item. I want us to have a conversation on this item with my
And
colleagues.
no issue about that. We will be reporting out about the 4th of July in the near future.
I would like to request an agenda item. I would like to get a short presentation on the construction schedule and timeline for Grape Day Park. I've had a
So-
lot of people ask me about that.
So we will provide that. We do not need to have a meeting about that. We will provide that, and then if you want to further that conversation, absolutely. have
Provided
that.
it's a presentation here.
We will get you a list, and then we will figure out presentation timetables. You're not here next week. We're going into August. Let me get to that. Let me address that. If you want to, after I provide the information, if there's a request still out there to have a presentation, happy to do so. Happy
Okay.
to schedule.
Councilmember Subcommittee reports.
Thank you, Mayor. We've been gone a couple of weeks, so a lot has happened. On June 26th, I joined the mayor. We attended the House Building 101 that was here at Dixon Trails. And I'm going to have him brag because he had a lot to do with its success, but it is the first of its kind in the nation. I just learned that. It's the model for the nation regarding building homes that are fire resistant. So that was really interesting.
Resilient. They're
Resilient.
very cautious about using resistant.
That's why I was going to have you talk about it. On the 27th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce 114th Installation Dinner, Awards Dinner, and we were able to, the mayor swore in the new board and the new chairperson, Kay Bates, which we have met with, and we're really excited about working together with them to bring businesses and grow businesses here in Escondido. That was a busy week, so on the 28th, the next day, I attended the California Center for the Arts of Escondido's first annual Arts and Awards Dinner with my colleague, Consuelo. And it was the first of its kind here. It's going to be an annual awards dinner, and that was really for San Diego County. And it was just really extraordinary, and several organizations that we have supported here in the city did win awards, and a lot of local artists, actors, and anybody having to do with the arts. There were about 5 local awards that were given. The 4th of July was a blast. I think everyone attended. No pun intended. It was a blast. And then also at Kit Carson Park, which is in my district, from July 3rd through the 6th, the Escondido Girls Softball League hosted their annual Freedom Softball Tournament. So I went on for the closing ceremonies and learned that these girls that are in these softball leagues come as far as from Canada and Hawaii, and currently there are 3, maybe 4 that are going to be going to, they're going to the next level before they go to nationals. So we may be having a couple of teams going to the national competition out of Escondido. Something that I really enjoyed doing, and it was getting an in-depth tour of Kit Carson Park. So Joe Goulart, Director of Public Works, who is here, and also Randy Rode, who is the Assistant Director of Community Services. We just walked through the Kit Carson Park. We brainstormed on ways that we could clean up, transform to be able to serve our community better with the outdoor spaces, and then also create revenue for the city, because there's just so much to do there. And there's a lot of good things that are going to be happening there. I just wanted to share that. Tomorrow there will be, and I'm really excited whenever new business opens here, there will be a ribbon cutting at 3 p.m., a grand opening for Escondido Modern Dentistry. So that's something to celebrate. Also, I attended the San Diego Air Pollution Control district meeting, and the air quality monitor, or the air monitor device that they're installing here in Escondido, is going to be up and running in August, which is really good. We'll be providing those reports for a lot of the North County areas. And again, there are only 8 in the county, so it's really, you know, I'm grateful that we're going to have one in Escondido. And one other thing, I actually just wanted to applaud the Escondido Police Department. It's not out there in the public, but I just want to let you know, because of their hard work, working tirelessly, their effort, doing a lot of undercover things, they removed a violent predator off our streets on the 8th. So he was arrested. It was a big operation, long-term operation, taken off of our streets. He was involved in human trafficking. And so I just want to let you know that because of their hard work, your community is safer. So be sure to thank an officer, thank these 2 gentlemen before you leave. And that's it.
All right. Last week at Sandag, we had a quick review of the Regional Transportation Plan, which will be voted on later this year. And if you have not yet gone on Sandag's website and played with the interactive map for the Regional Transportation Plan, I highly encourage you to see how it affects your day-to-day life if all of those things are implemented and all of our roads and freeways become toll roads. And let your leadership know how you want them to vote on that plan in September, October, whenever it comes. I did attend the home building workshop. It was put on by KB Homes and the Building Industry Association. It was actually held in 2 of the model homes at Dixon Trail. And it was cool because representatives or somebody from a representative's office from all throughout San Diego County came to Escondido and got to see what we are doing here. And like Councilmember Fitzgerald said, how we are the first in the nation to have this fire resiliency standards implemented here in the city. So it's very cool to have all of them there. It was a great workshop overall. I would encourage you, if we were talking about offering that to planning commissioners and other council members, and if that time comes, I would highly encourage you to do so. 4th of July celebration, I think, was one of the best I can remember. And just a quick, cool story. Right before the fireworks started, I had a friend of mine who's a small business owner in town walk by the little VIP area, so I snuck him and his wife in. And as the fireworks are going off, he told me that the 3 ladies with his wife's mom and 2 sisters, this was their first time in America, and this is how they got to spend it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty cool welcome to America here in Escondido. And that concludes my report. Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Also there for the 4th of July, absolutely fantastic. I mean, the park was absolutely crowded. If you weren't there for Grape Day Park and you went somewhere else, you made the wrong decision. Okay, next year, stay at Grape Day Park. It was really something to see. Like I said, the park was absolutely packed. Also met people from actually out of the country, and this was, this is something exciting for them. Went to a chamber mixer just recently. And that was also always good to see. It's always good to support local businesses, and I think they'd like to see city officials there. I know that the mayor was there as well. I think that was a really cool event. I had a CEA briefing and meeting. CEA, we met with SDG&E as well on one of those days, and we're just looking to see, working hard. I think there's a lot of productivity in terms of keeping our rates down, or at least manageable. I had a meeting with the CEA risk oversight, as I mentioned, and I think that is all I need to report. So, as always, thank you to my community for the privilege of serving.
I just returned from my Local Progress National Convening in Chicago. It's an event that I attend every year with elected officials from the local level, whether it's school board or city council or county commission. And there was over 500 of us in Chicago, so that was great. And I'm still digesting a lot of the information that I brought back, and I've already mentioned some of it to the city manager of some resources that I would like to bring to the city. I participated in a Escondido Community Foundation community workshop, and there's going to be more opportunities, but the Escondido Community Foundation is partnering with, for a mural along the Escondido Creek Trail. The Creek Trail runs along my district, and so right now they're doing interviews with the community on different motifs that they will incorporate into this community-led mural. So really excited about that. This Friday, I'll have a San Diego River Park Joint Powers Authority meeting. We usually meet once a month, and so I'll be able to share updates on that next week. I also, it was a couple weeks ago, but I also attended the Escondido Chamber of Commerce annual dinner at the Center for the Arts. That was a busy night. Also Música en la Plaza that evening. And then the following day was the North County Awards, and it was an exciting event, very inspiring, and well attended. I think they had a lot more people than they had anticipated, so that was wonderful. And then there was another event with Tierra Caliente that same night, so just spent my whole weekend at the Center for the Arts. And then I have been busy also just fielding information, and it's come up a couple times here in the council, but I do get a lot of calls, especially when there are unmarked vehicles in our city. In some cases, they've been security at a store's vehicle, but it's unmarked and it's tinted windows and it looks like, it doesn't look like a normal car. So people kind of start to say, hey, what kind of vehicle is this? It's really challenging to be able to tell what vehicles agencies are tied to. And I do spend a lot of my time fielding questions and inquiry from the community. But I do my best to try to get answers for the community, and I will continue to do that. And then anytime I do receive information or confirmation, I will share that. And then I also do have a lot of access to resources, which I'm always sharing. So if anyone does need support with that, I do want to give a public invitation for folks to reach out to me to connect people to resources. And again, it is a challenge and something that takes up a lot of time in the community, asking questions, and does instill fear. So always trying to find ways to mitigate that. But I just wanted to say that I hear you, I see you, and I will continue to share information, reliable information. I believe in providing facts to the community and trying to really calm the fear that's in our community. So thank you. That's all I have to share.
City Manager?
Nothing to report.
Any other public comments?
None.
This meeting is adjourned.